Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Inside the C-Suite. This is Ryan Leary. I'm here with my cohort and friend, Mr. William Tincup. And we have a very special guest today. We are live here at Cornerstone, and we're speaking with Karthik Suri, who is the CPO here at Cornerstone. Karthik, welcome in. How are you today?
Outstanding. Having a blast, Ryan.
And so sometimes CPO can be chief people officer. So I'm sure he gets misdiagnosed with that all the time.
That's right.
But
I'm chief product officer.
There you go.
But I am in the people business.
Yes. That's
Good point. Good point.
Good clarification.
Add a people tech.
That's right.
There we go. So this is an interesting show for us because this is all about you. This is Inside the C-Suite. So we're here to learn about your background, what drives you, what motivates you. We're going to kind of dig in a little bit, learn about your background. So where do you want to start today?
You got to start with now.
Now.
What are you doing now? So you're chief product officer, Cornerstone, great. What does that mean?
Yeah.
What are you over? What are you managing, etc.?
Yeah, it's probably the best gig that I've had, so I could go on for hours talking about it. So listen, I'm Karthik Suri, I'm Chief Product Officer at Cornerstone. Cornerstone is the one unified, holistic workforce agility platform that actually bridges that workforce readiness gap. As Chief Product Officer, I design, develop, my team and I design, develop, and deliver products that actually solve this workforce readiness gap, be it skills gap, through learn solutions, an expectation gap, employees' expectations are changing, that one size fits all to development is completely transformed. So our Elevate solutions, like our performance, our career marketplace, our talent marketplace, our skilling solutions, and then how do we transform, how do we help organizations become that skills-based organization? So that conceptualization of that is the product suite that we offer, and I had that. In addition, I also have the privilege of running our content business. Content is that bloodline, that bloodstream, that oxygen that flows into growth and development of people.
Real small business, like 120 million or something like that. Yeah.
I can't talk to the exact numbers, but
we had a message to deliver.
Real small business.
It's a phenomenal high growth business, but one that our customers love. So that excites me most as a product geek. Because it is the contextuality of the content, right? That the right content at the right moment when you need it in the flow of work. It's difficult to actually precisely nail that to the point that it's not annoying and it's not like passive aggressive. Like it's much more authoritative.
Right.
Like, hey, you need this. Like I'm like
Well, you also, as you mentioned, you're also in the people business. You brought in a great leader. For that particular part of the business. We interviewed him this morning.
And he did, and he said he wanted us to tell you that he thoroughly enjoys working for you.
That's exactly right. That's true.
I'll Venmo him the payment. Now, I've built one of the pleasures of being a chief product officer at Cornerstone, and the privilege that Himanshu has given me and our board has given me is to build that bench. So one of our product leaders that manages a vast majority of our SaaS products across learning and talent is Brenda. She was previously a competitor, then a customer, and now she's leading this. She understands scale and innovation.
Right.
Mike Bullinger is a veteran in HR tech.
100%.
People know him, he says he attended 16, 18 HR tech conferences in the last several. He brings that platform centricity, the skill centricity, the ecosystem centricity. Giri that you just spoke to, he's been in media and design, so he understands engagement at its core and using tools like artificial intelligence to drive that engagement for people because towards the outcome. I brought in a head of design. She's amazing and bringing that consumer grade experience, but also not just usability, but also things like accessibility. We build products for all of humanity and not just for the privileged few. So making sure that you have that human-centered design as you're building these products. Our head of ecosystems has been both in Cornerstone and in this business for quite a while. So I'm in many ways privileged and lucky to have a team that complements me, but at the same time is stellar in their own way.
So
it seems like a common theme with all the leaders that we're getting to speak with. they use the word privileged in when they describe their team and for the work that they get to do, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah, because I find that fascinating for a few reasons, right? So I built my career at GE in the 90s.
Oh,
in
wow.
In the era when
Jack.
the talent
Hudson on the
development
Bay.
was essentially the biggest part of the whole,
Yep.
like, the ethos of the company was, build and launch talent. So through the course of my career in going from GE into the Valley as well, this persisted is that I've always had the privilege of working with coaches, mentors, and managers
Right.
who have always advised me, coached me, or mentored me. They said, like, hey, throw your name in the hat for this project, or stretch yourself with this particular assignment, or go learn, like, I call myself a recovering engineer. As a recovering engineer, go practice strategic practices in financial planning and analysis, because, as you climb,
Right.
in your career, you'll need all of this. So whether it is my managers at GE, at PayPal, at eBay, later, when I was the chief operating officer at GE Digital, at each of these stages, these mentors have guided me, coached me. I've been privileged, going back to that operative word, I've been lucky. So part of my mission right now, particularly with this vehicle called Cornerstone, is to democratize that privilege, to normalize that luck,
Right.
such that each and every person can get to control their destiny.
So back to some of the other things that you might be a part of. Are you a part of the kind of the corp dev and looking at some of, because the company has made two wonderful acquisitions recently. Ryan and we've reported on it in our news show, but just on the outside, you don't know what you don't know, right? So we reported on Tailspin, reported on Skyhive, but now that we've got to actually see them, it's like, oh my God, these were amazing acquisitions.
Every day I wake up, I too think, oh my God, these are amazing acquisitions. And here is the little bit of a big picture around this, right? As the head of product and head of product strategy, you look at all aspects, build, buy, partner.
Right.
And of course, we have some amazing products that we have built and launched. The Cornerstone Talent Marketplace. Our Content Studio was built, and this AI-powered curation, creation, insights tool. But when we look at like something like spatial, right? Like with Meta open sourcing Horizon OS, with Apple's Vision Pro, etc., that is at an inflection point. And we have some amazing talent in people like Kyle that we felt we first partnered with them, brought them into the ecosystem, and then it just became dead obvious that no, this has to belong to our portfolio right now. So that acquisition was spurred by that. Kyle reports into my organization, and therefore we have this opportunity to bring that sensibilities of innovation to the rest of the teams as well, because they're all founders are always in the cutting edge.
100%.
In return, we work with that organization to help them scale, because it's very different when you have 7,000 customers and 125 million users. Same thing with Skyhive. Sean and I have been partnering, and we've been discussing about this coalition of building, because skills is a up and coming thing. Everyone wants to do it. People want to find the best vehicle to get there.
Right.
And this seemed like a match made in heaven. And as a part of that, we have a great engine that we have built. We will continue to use that. But for those that want to lean into that transformation, soup to nuts, get that neural system going, the AI engine that Skyhive have built is amazing. So it made sense. And, when Himanshu and I chatted, presented the case to our board, we have a very supportive sponsors. And they're like, do what's right for your customers. At that point, and then we brought them into the mix.
Yeah, you could have built it. You could have built both of those.
Absolutely.
It would have taken years.
We don't know, and we didn't want to find out. Part of this
we didn't want to find out. So
terabytes of data.
Exactly.
15 terabytes daily. That's
That's
right.
I don't want to know what it takes to build that.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah.
We're good.
And it's built in an
won't cover
extremely
that.
scalable way, right? Like that was important for us, is because if it is a one-off solution, it looks exciting. But for us, our name of the game is to make sure that our customers, the trust that we have earned with them for quarter a century, it actually makes entire sense.
Right.
Right.
Let's go back to 15, 18-year-old. What'd you want to? What'd you want to be?
This is where it gets dangerous.
Oh no! I would imagine you didn't want to be a chief product officer, but I might be wrong.
As I was joking, I'm a recovering engineer. So I started off my career in engineering, and my eyes were like always. My mom says my eyes are bigger than my stomach. So I look around, and there's so many things to do. There's so many ways to make life impactful. I grew up in India in the 70s, and both my parents were like, dual career couple, which was not that common back in the day.
Right.
My mom was in banking, and dad was in sales.
What part of India?
Southern part, Chennai. Yeah,
Chennai?
born and raised there. Yeah. And so for me, just watching them has always been, spurring interest in so many diverse activities. So after I graduated after grad school, I joined GE, and GE was a microcosm of that eyes bigger than stomach. So many business units, so many functions. Talent mobility was a not only allowed but encouraged, managed career planning, etc. So at that point in time, it builds the confidence into yourself that you can navigate your way, you can figure out what you're in a new country, you figure that out. You're in a new space, you figure it out. You have surround yourself with the right people who are complementary in skills. And
well, Jack had a vision about training that I don't think any other CEO at the time had. I think it was at Hudson on the Bay.
Crotonville,
Crotonville.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like he would take the best of the best, drop them in here, cross-train them on something else, and go do that. And then I don't know of another CEO in that era that had that approach.
Totally. And we are talking about skills inflection point right now, right? Like when I rewind back, like every single era had its own inflection point. At that time, e-business was a thing,
right?
And Jack's point was, disrupt your business before someone else does,
right?
And just changing that brick and mortar skilling to like how do you think about like in the 90s, right, before the internet took off, etc. Then digital industrial came, and so there are each of these. When you just zoom out and you're old enough, you look at the inflection point. It may not be obvious at the start, but somewhere the people who can understand those patterns just are highly successful. Now, how do we bring that to every industry and every function? And that makes life exciting.
Your time at GM, is that
GE.
Or GE, sorry. Is that, do you still draw inspiration from that throughout your career?
I can confidently say I draw inspiration from every single personal and professional activity, including being a dad, being a husband, being a son, being at GE, being at PayPal, being at eBay. Every single episode of my career or professional chapter has one nugget
you
that
can
I pick
find
up
something.
and like, geez, oh my God. It always is more interesting when you look back than when you look forward.
100%.
You can't connect the dots looking forward, as they say.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. But that was a big part of my professional foundations.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think this is interesting. We've talked about this, William, but the more people that we interview for this particular show Inside the C-Suite, it's interesting to see their journey, learn about their journey, what motivates them, mentorship, all that stuff. But I think the connection that I'm putting together between those that we interview here on Inside the C-Suite and others is it feels like that they're taking nuggets from company to company, but not just saying it. Like they actually mean it.
They're
like
inventorying.
I feel like when we're talking to Karthik here, he means it.
Oh, 100%.
Like you live it, you breathe it.
Totally.
You feel it. Yeah.
Totally. And like let me take eBay or PayPal, for example, right? Like this concept of ecosystem.
Yeah.
Connecting a network of buyers and sellers and developers and transaction systems is something that at that point forward, you cannot unsee that lesson.
Right.
At that point in time, you take that with you. And when I speak about Cornerstone Extend, which is this HR tech marketplace where you connect people to HR professionals, to partners, to others, it just, you pick that nugget that someone else has solved that problem. Why do we reimagine starting it from scratch when you can do that? And that's true in personal life too.
So you went from GE to PayPal?
I went from GE. I was at Barclays, Global Investors. It was back in the day quant investing, so
Yeah.
it was like big data before it was called big data. And after that, I went to Yahoo,
Yep.
and then to eBay and PayPal. They were the same company, so
Right.
I then had career opportunities within eBay and within PayPal as well. And then I went back to GE Digital as the chief operating officer for their industrial IoT platform called Predix.
Yeah.
It was a fascinating experience, and then
IoT was.
yeah, it was great. And then I went as chief product and technology officer in a genomic company, so genetic technology and how you bring that to mainstream medicine to improve healthcare, because your genes have a lot of data.
Oh, yeah. Turns
and then
out.
after that, after my first conversation with Himanshu, this felt like
That was it.
a phenomenal opportunity.
What did he pitch you on? I'm always intrigued.
Yeah.
It started off with purpose. He spoke about his own career journey, and then he spoke about the purpose that we have, right? That this mission to unleash limitless potential in people, but purpose with profits, right? And then how do you connect it back to the business case that we are in? And a product that is highly sticky, high retention rates, high net retention rates, and yet on the brink of transformation, because the expectation was changing.
Right.
People wanted, like, you
The
wanted
audience
to go
has
to the
changed.
experience economy.
Yeah.
And that was fascinating to me, because in enterprise software, you take certain experience for granted, and which has always bugged me. Nobody wakes up in the morning saying, I want to open a purchase rec. Whereas when you think about consumer
Good point.
grade, it's much more inviting to you, right? Like, you want it to be engaging.
Yeah.
So the concept of a changing multi-generational workforce and an opportunity to build a product that not only connected the business complaint, you still need to land planes, you need to certifications to manufacture a
Right.
vaccine, you need your lines to not stop. But at the same time, you want this self-directed, self-motivated ability to scale oneself, and that sweet intersection of those two felt like a fun problem to solve. That's also meaningful.
He seems like he'd be fun to work with.
Oh, he's amazing.
He seems like
He's amazing.
he just.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's fantastic.
I don't know him from Adam. However, he just seems like he'd be fun to kind of
absolutely.
collaborate with.
Absolutely, he's a deep thinker.
Yeah.
He's analytical. So he's definitely.
I
has
got
a,
that yesterday
Yeah.
in the room. Like,
Good
he had a
grasp of
presence
numbers,
about
absolutely.
himself,
But
great
he's a
stories.
kind human being. Like,
Yeah.
he connects
Yeah.
at a personal level.
Yeah.
Which are all the hallmarks that, like, you want out of a leader. You want to keep it human. You want someone that you can have a conversation with, to kick back and have a beer with, right, or whatever, coffee.
Right.
And that connection was there. He's tough too.
Oh, yeah.
It's like which
Yeah.
means that
Which
he
is
holds us
exactly what you
accountable.
want.
Exactly, all of us. So
Right.
How's in the relationship with the board? How is the?
we have a really good, solid set of sponsors, and it's about bidirectional trust and transparency, as with our employees, as with anywhere else. And that's another portion that I want to talk about, is like with Karina Cortez, our CHRO, launched employee value proposition and bringing this ethos of tomorrow together, right? Like sparking greatness, sharing success, shattering boundaries. That process itself taught a lot for me, not just on absorbing it as a leader for my own employees, but how do I build a product that energizes that work?
Right.
So having a customer
Which is a high
zero
threshold.
in-house is like having my first customer is,
It's R&D.
she's right next
Yeah.
to me, right? Like, so I can test everything through.
And if
her.
something's
So-
not working,
Exactly.
she's gonna
I
tell
hear
you.
from it first, and they're tough customers too, like others. So that's why I feel like there are so many things that have fallen in place in this that makes it fascinating.
What is so you talked about lessons or things, lessons you've learned that you can't unsee at PayPal and some of these others. What is that lesson? What is that thing that you want to create here that your teams or people will see that they can't forget when they move on?
Yeah, that's a great question, Ryan. Let me unpack it. The first and foremost is human-centered design, right? We are building
Right.
things for the person behind the professional, whichever space that they are in. So having that design centricity, that design thinking mindset is number one. That is a product ethos that I hope I leave behind.
right?
And number two is that openness. a rising tide lifts all boats, which means that if you are embracing the ecosystem, you're better off than building a wall garden. A playground is more interesting than a wall garden.
You talked about that yesterday about your API.
Exactly. Whether it's API, whether it's an app store, whether it's even you could compete fiercely in one layer of the stack, but if your customers want something else, you want to meet them where they are in the journey. So you want to embrace all of that. So that is number 2. Number 3 is that actual craft, right? Like building, launching, and servicing products. And I say products, it's just not the software code. It is the service, the support, etc.
Right.
Is a craft that we should continuously improve. It's not a project that has a start and stop. It's a product that lives beyond us. So making sure that we take the depth, the sweat the details, etc. on the craft personship, so to speak, is a third big portion. Fourth is I hope we create a culture of data-driven decision making.
Yeah.
Right. So you have
internally
for
your
and for our customers, everything, right? And definitely in a responsible way, right? Like in a more where anonymized, respecting privacy, etc. But you harvesting the power of data for the betterment of humanity is something amazing. And last, but the one that speaks to me the most, and I hope we leave that, is being responsible, right? Like our AI is just not a fancy tool; it scans for hate speech. Our design ethos includes accessibility, which means people who are temporarily or permanently differently abled, making sure that we accommodate for their condition versus just. So these 5 principles, if that becomes a part of our DNA, I would have done my job.
How are you tracking ethical and audited AI? So ethical, there's a whole line of thinking there, and audited, third-party auditing and things like that. How are you at this point kind of conceptualizing what you want to do there?
So I would unpack it into the spirit and the letter. First, we want to be categorical about the spirit, whereby it's privacy, security, human in the middle, explainability, bias mitigation. An example of bias mitigation is the taxonomy sometimes comes and says, or job description says salesman, and you want to update it to salesperson, right? Like as I said, I was going to say craftsmanship, but then I changed in my previous, when you asked me, I said craftspersonship. So these are things that we have to inherently understand, and our machines have to understand this.
That's right.
So in spirit, we have our principles, our foundation, we have a governance body that actually looks at it, etc. And then, we go into the letter, which means how do you bring external people to look at it? How do you make sure that the industry experts are comfortable with it? How do you have reversibility? So if a data source is shut off for you, and if you have your models have to unlearn it, do you have capabilities of unlearning that particular model? Do you have consent front and center and all of these things? So that is the letter side of things, and they both have to work together. And your people need to internalize that it is the spirit. That makes sense?
Absolutely.
It does, yeah.
Well, one last question from me.
Of course.
When you're explaining workforce agility to someone that has I always use you're at a cocktail party and somebody asks you what you do, blah, blah, blah. So how do you explain to someone that doesn't have any idea what that is, how do you explain workforce agility? Yeah,
I usually, and this does happen quite a bit, right? People do talk about these things, and unfortunately it is a space that most people understand. First and foremost, what almost everyone gets instinctively is that the world is changing, and change is a constant, and it's the most adaptable that survive. The second is, how is it changing? And we start joking about I use this phrase, right? I have two kids, 18 and 16, and the first one. Oh my goodness, we're close. Yeah. 18 and 14. Nice. What are yours?
16, 13, and 10.
Perfect. So
he's got all girls. I got boys.
Regardless, you'll understand this, that for them, my older one applied for his entire college application through his mobile. That they're stuck to that, right? So they are what I call the screenagers.
We're going to borrow that, by the way. You trademarked that, right?
I'm glad you resaid that.
You should have trademarked that. I sent that to my wife after you said it. Yeah. I literally sent that to my wife. I'm like,
I feel like exactly. They need a t-shirt.
Screenager. So they get that. People get the fact that the whole, the electric car, they talk about that, etc. So when you piece these 3 together, the topic of skills somehow comes, right? So in other words, hey, you talk about change, you talk about our kids, etc. At a cocktail party.
Right.
So there's so much change there, and people talk invariably about ChatGPT or Gemini and say, can you imagine 3 years back if someone came in and said, "I'm Karthik, I'm a prompt engineer," you would be like, "Huh?" so people understand that change. People understand skills are changing, and and then they say, "Okay, 50% of these are going to be turned around on their head in like the next 2 to 3 years." So, and we get to talking about then how do you upskill people? And the second portion is, and this typically happens in a slightly more professional setting, right? Which is not uncommon in the Bay Area.
Right.
Is then, we have data spread all over the place, etc. It's an litany of systems. So you don't know what you have. How do you bring all of this? It's a visibility issue.
Yeah, it's siloed.
And then we always speak about this multi-generation workforce and expectations changing, right? Invariably things back to work kind of stuff, topic comes up, traffic comes up, etc. At that point in time, you say that people's expectations on work is and how it is done is fundamentally changing. So at that point in time, the lead is, there is a skilling readiness gap across in the workforce, and we have a platform. What do you do? I build and service a platform that actually helps bridge this gap through learning, through skilling, through mobility, etc. And then it clicks because each of them, just like the example I gave to you from my GE and my PayPal days, each of them has one personal incident that they then starting to talk through. And then you zoom out and you're like, this all makes sense.
It's fascinating to me because learning and training, the words of yesterday are boring to me. Like when someone talks about learning or they talk about training and development, my eyes roll. But when you talk about skilling or upskilling, I get excited. So it's almost like a rebrand of those terms. Those were the terms that our fathers used, our grandfathers used, etc. But when you're talking about skills, you're talking about the half-life of skills, the tangential skills, all this. It becomes fun.
Yeah.
It's a game.
Absolutely, and it's both not only pushed to you but pulled by you, right? It is. It becomes the Amazon Prime, Netflix, Spotify. This is about understanding you and then giving you an opportunity to indulge at that point in time.
He sounds like he'd be fun to work with.
I'm pretty sure. You know
what I'm saying?
Gary didn't lie.
This call is recorded for quality assurance purposes. I've shared it with my mom and my kids.
Seriously,
of
he sounds like he'd be because he's curious.
Are you telling me you want a job?
No. I'm saying.
I mean, if you want a job, he's right here. Ask him.
No. I'm unemployable. You know that I'm unemployable.
Yeah,
but it just seems like he'd be fun because he's curious.
Yeah.
And I like curious people, especially curious leaders. So
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so
man.
much, guys. It's been a blast. Take care.
Awesome.